Right, hi guys, it's Bob from Greybeard Models. Welcome back again. Right, so this time with this commercial vehicle update, we're going to look at doing the brown horses. I had some great information from Pete over at Pete's Kits. Let me just grab my notes, because he told me about the different colours between bays and chestnuts. So the brown horses, if you recall from my last video, it was like, I don't know, I would say I don't know one end of the horse to the other, but obviously yeah. But yeah, he gave me a sort of breakdown of the different colours of bays and chestnuts, which was really useful information. Thank you very much, Pete, that was great. I'll put a link to Pete's channel below, so go and check his channel out. He's you know, he's really good stuff over there, so I'll give him a shout out as well. So thanks for that, Pete. Let's get over. I've got the paint all set out and we'll get on with some painting. Right, so I went through the colours last time, but just in case you didn't see it last time, I'll go through it again. So I used the Vallejo 70982 Cavalry Brown, the Vallejo 70950 Black, the 70918 Ivory, nearly dropped it, 70875 Beige Brown, the 70983 Flat Earth, and the 70874 Tan Earth. So they're the colours that I'm going to use. I've squirted a little bit. I mean, I gave them a, you know, bottles have been shaken in my machine. If you've seen a couple of episodes ago, I showed you the machine I use for shaking the paints. So I've got all of these shaken up and distributed on my wet palette. I'll keep the bottles aside just in case I need to top up the colours. And then what I can do is, because I use the wet palette, I can drag the colours across to get the tones that I want. And I've also got this picture here, which I'm going to use as a sort of a guide. And I've also got my phone over here with a picture of the sort of horse that I'm going to sort of copy, and it's just gone off. So don't you love it? These phones are great, aren't they? But you know, the picture that I had of a chestnut horse, which I think is probably the closest that I've got to what Pete was saying. Hold on, back again. There we go, chestnut horse. So I had a page up on my phone, and it's given me sort of different sort of chestnut horses, and that sort of thing. So you know, that's useful. I've got that to hand. It's going to go off again. I know it is, because you know, whenever you put it there, after a while it goes. But it's there from a reference, so I can look at that and do that. I've got a whole stack of paintbrushes here. These are ones that I bought at one of the shows. I think I bought these at the Telford show last year. So I've got a selection of brushes here. Whoop. Just so that you get an idea of what I'm using. So I've got a 0 size brush there, and obviously that's the bigger brush, and I use that for the sort of basic sort of colours. And then I've got I'll pick up the right brush. Right, so I've got two pretty fine brushes. One's a 3, that's that one, 3/0, and that's a 10/0. And the 10/0 I can use for the really fine details. And then I've got a couple of others here. These are slightly different shaped brushes. These are shorter brushes. That's a 5 and that's a 10/0. that's 5 knot and a 10 knot, depending on what I'm doing. And then I've got a couple of other brushes here that I've got, which are a couple of 3 noughts, and they're good for just blending and stuff like that. And then I've got another brush here which is a 5 nought, which is an ammo brush, and it's very tiny point on it. In there it's got a very tiny point, and it'll be good for doing things like I don't know, it's for very detailed things. As I'm only doing the colours, I probably won't need them, and I'll probably concentrate on the larger size brushes just to get the basic colours in, and then use the smaller brushes to do the blending. Now, since we last had a look at these horses, they were in a dark brown colour, but I've actually given them a coat now of black, and the black has sat not all over them, but I sort of aim to get it more into the darker recesses of the horses, so the undersides and under the neck and all that sort of stuff, as a basis to the colours that I'm going to add on. So right, so I'm just going to sort of sort all this out and get all set up, and then I'll bring the camera in and you can see how I go about it. So the first thing I've done is mix some of this beige brown and the cavalry brown, and I've come up with this sort of reddy brown colour. So add a little bit of water to that, just to make sure it's sort of quite a nice sort of colour, and I'll put this down as the sort of almost like the basic colour, if you like. Some of the pictures that I've looked at look about that, so I can go in, and this is the this is going to be the hard bit, isn't it? This is going to be like showing you what I've done. So what I'll do is I'll start with one of the recesses here around the head, and I think I'll probably start with the head, just to get the colours down like this, and just see how this is. This is really awkward, having to do this with the camera, where the camera is actually where I really want to be. This is quite fun. Fun? It's hard. No, it's not. Well, it's hard. Anyone who's out there who does this sort of stuff, sort of live on camera, you've got my respect, man, because this is not easy. It's not easy to sort of have my sort of hand in the wrong place to be applying the paint. I don't know how. Maybe I need to reposition the camera so I can lay in the. This is just wrong, because I want this to be like close to me, so I've got both hands sort of supported. I'm going to need to try and reposition the camera, I think, because this is actually quite difficult, because I'm sort of looking at it. The camera is exactly where I want to be, so I want to have it sort of here, yeah. But I can't see what I'm doing. Interesting. So what I'll do is I'm going to stop the camera, and then I'm going to have another go and try and reposition the camera so it's in a place where you can see what's going on and I can actually see what I'm doing. So hold on a sec, let me just change the camera. Okay, so this this seems to be like the best sort of position to have the sort of the camera. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do is lay on a coat of this sort of mixture, this cavalry brown and the beige brown, because I hope you can see that, so I can get the right sort of basic colour. Needs a little bit of water, I think, because I'm just gonna give that a sort of all over colour, and it's
See, I'm not happy with that because of where I am. I've actually put the brown onto the sort of neck thing there, and I'm not really happy with that, but that's never mind. But that's the sort of colour that I want. And the mane, because it had the dark brown underneath some black, when I did the black, I didn't really put much black onto the mane, so it will serve as the dark areas anyway. So what I'll do is I'll carry on with this, and we'll see how we get on. It is actually quite awkward with the camera there, to be fair, but hey, you know, let's try. Let's see what we do. See how it comes out. It may come out like a pig's ear, but they're a different colour, and we'll see how it gets on. Well, if I concentrate on this sort of area here, in between this area of harness there, so I've got that colour there, but I'm hitting areas really that I didn't want to paint, but hey ho, we'll get on with that. So we'll rinse the brush out. Over on the side here I've got a jar full of water, and to rinse my brush out, and some kitchen towel, so I can sort of get the bulk of the colour out of my brush. So the next area is looking at this, and is that the sort of raised area of the neck would be a brighter brown, which might be more, I think, what was the tan earth, I think, and that had, so I mixed some of the tan earth with a bit of the cavalry brown, which is good, and then that sort of gives me the sort of colour in here, which is what I wanted in terms of sort of the lighter area around there, to sort of, because it's the sort of raised area, if you like, where the horse has got his neck over. Not overly worried about getting colours on the harness, because I'm going to paint that anyway, but this sort of blending the sort of colours there, and then I'll leave, there's an area there that's sort of settled back, and then I'll come in with another area here, again will be blended in like that. And then what I can then do, this is blinking hard, you know. What I can then do is then sort of blend these two colours together, and what I want to try and do is just where the sort of line is to break that line up and just pretty much sort of blend the two together. Right, just gonna have a look at that without the camera on and see how it is. Okay, so I've moved the camera up out of the way, so now I can't really see what the camera can see, but I can see what I'm doing. So hopefully this is in shot. So what I've done is I've added an extra sort of line of sort of a redder mix of the cavalry brown and the beige brown. It's more of a cavalry brown, so I've done a sort of fine line of that along the top where the mane is, and now I'm just blending in that area there with a smaller brush, just to get a sort of a mixture of that redder brown and this mixture of the I think it was the tan earth, and or was it? No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was tan earth and that mix. So it's sort of like blending that in, just to get so it's a more of a redder colour where the mane is, but it's just very difficult just to sort of explain what I'm doing, but just blending all these colours in and just adding just little dabs of colour, just so that it sort of tends to sort of go over. But I've sort of got the effect I want, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to crack on and get some more done, but I'm going to have to do it without the camera in a way, because it's unless I leave the camera up here, I don't know. Yeah, so the next thing is to do under here, and do that as a sort of darker area. So what I'll do is I'll just clean this brush off. So I've got that over there, and I've got my sort of bit of kitchen roll. What would he do without kitchen roll? We'd have to use cloths, I suppose. You know, if we did away with all these sort of disposable paper things, I'm assuming that these can be recycled in some manner. Probably ends up coming back, and I don't know, you wipe your bum with it, I don't know. Or this might well be just sent away to be incinerated, I don't know. Anyway, moving swiftly on, because we don't really want to stay there. So what I'll do is we'll go for more of the darker colour again, and we'll go into this area here. Now the reason I'm doing this on the table is because it's like I can see what I'm doing, and I'm trying not to paint the areas where the harness is, because I want to try and retain that sort of dark shadow where the harness is. But yeah, so I'll just paint underneath there, and I'm going to use a fairly wet mix. Let's see, that's gone on the harness, but I'm just going to use a fairly wet mix, because what I'll do is when that dries, that'll just go into sort of a thinner mix with the black undercoat, which will be great. And then what I can do then is go into the area around the mouth again, getting in there. Oh, sorry, I hit the camera stand then with my head. My God, this is hard. And then carry on around there. Around his nose, which again obviously will come back in and sort of colour his nose in, and come back and probably make sure the nostrils are dark and all that sort of caper. I hope you can see what I'm doing, because if you can't, it's a waste of time, isn't it? But that's really what I'm going to be doing, and that's the sort of colouring that I'll do. So I think what I'll do, you've got the idea of what I'm doing, and I'll crack on and do some more painting, and then see that how that's blended in, and then yeah, and then I'll carry on with the rest of the horses, and I'll come back to you in a bit. Well, I had to take the camera out of the way to get on and paint the horses because the camera just got in the way. How you guys do this stuff on camera really amazes me. I just think it's really cool. But yeah, I couldn't do it, and I needed to get the horse and everything in front of me with the optimizer on. Excuse me, to get it done. But this is the first of the sort of chestnut horses that I've done. Obviously there's more work to be done on it with the harnesses and to do some highlighting on the hair, but I'm quite happy with the colour. I think that's turned out quite well. I'm quite happy with the way everything's sort of blended together. I'm really pleased with it. So now I'm going to get on with doing the harnesses on this and the other horse, and that's where we've got with the brown horses. So if you've got this far and you've watched all the way through, thanks for watching, really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.